hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Mike T-Roy's here. What up, T?
Howdy, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing much better than yesterday.
Yeah?
I'll tell you that. We've brought one of my best friends on planet Earth, Jenny Fedorovich, back.
Yeah.
You can follow her on Facebook at Jenny Feder, F-E-T-E-R. Hi, Jen. How are you?
Exhausted.
Yeah.
Overwhelmed, all of it. But I'm happy to be here. There's been tremendous response from you listeners. You guys are super supportive. I love you guys. And
Yeah.
you're bringing my POV real time to your listeners. So I'm always happy to be here.
Well, I got to tell you, and we'll get into this. I wanted to explain really quick, and I love your outfit. I see what you're doing. I see the colors, your fingernails, your jacket, your shirt, all support and love for Ukraine. And it's not lost on me or T. He noticed it, and I noticed it.
Thank you.
I like
yeah.
it. Even Mike, you got a little
I
got
know.
blue and yellow going.
Blue and yellow going. Yeah.
Shit, I got the Russian look color going, man. My bad.
Yeah, you're all right.
What was
this
he
up.
thinking?
Yeah,
I'm going to the Wings game tonight, so that's all.
Those are.
yeah.
I don't
It's
know
tough
about-
right now. It's tough.
Yeah.
We weren't here yesterday. I got to tell you, I told everybody a couple weeks ago how I ate shit on the ice like 3 times in a couple weeks span. Just go outside with the dog. And so the other day was 3 or 4 days ago.
Saturday, I think.
Saturday,
I was
yeah.
gone, yeah.
Yeah, you were gone. I took Cece out, and the neighbor let her dog out at the same time, like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. And Cece just bolts next door, and they start playing. They do it all the time. They're great friends. They never leave the yard. So I was like, fine, I'll walk back inside, grab my boots, grab a couple treats and a leash, and I'll head over there, knowing that it's a shit show on the lawn, just a sheet of ice. But we had a fresh 1.5 inch of like powder on top of it, and I'm like, I walk gingerly enough, no problem. And I start walking inch by inch across this lawn, and I hit that little slope in the lawn, and just both legs out from under me, full force, big fat ass me on my back. Boom. I almost lose consciousness. I can't breathe. I can't even moan.
You're too old to be walking on the ice.
Right? I know.
Jesus.
I was thinking I haven't fell on the ice in 30 years. 4 times now this year. I thought I cracked ribs. And so yesterday, I knew it was going to get worse, like kind of like working out after you haven't worked out in years. And that third day is like, so I knew yesterday was going to be a problem, and I couldn't breathe. I was struggling to talk. I was shaking when I'd talk. It hurt so bad. And I went to, no painkillers were working. I took ibuprofen, broke out in hives. Took Tylenol, no effect.
Yeah,
When-
Tylenol is the most useless thing ever invented.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Just gonna put it out there.
Yeah, thank you.
Fever reducer.
Yeah, well, it didn't work. So I ended up going to the emergency last night and getting x-rays done all over my chest. And I didn't break anything, but it's just people that have rib injuries know what that feels like. But anyway, I felt much better today. And so the first thing I did was reach out to you, Jenny.
Got it.
This morning, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a show today. And struggle to take deep breaths and all that, but I'll make it through. But if I'm a little scattered, it's probably muscle relaxers.
Okay, that's
but-
great.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm kind of in a different land.
Get them loopy. Here we go.
Why didn't you tell me? I would have taken some muscle relaxants too. I could have really used some this morning.
I've got some upstairs. You're welcome to. I have they gave me like 15 of them. So I got to tell you, your last appearance was what, Thursday?
Who knows? I have
Whatever-
no idea.
whatever day it was.
Wednesday, Thursday,
Whatever
whatever
day
it was.
of the week that was.
It pisses me off, Jenny. It really does. I'm mad at you because I get more response when I have you on the show than when I came back after being gone for a 1.5 years. There was more response from people, whether it's direct messages, emails, phone calls,
Comments, all
Facebook
of it.
comments.
Yeah.
Like out of this world. You don't even know how impressive you are to the people that listen. People that don't even like me were reaching out to me going, that's a badass bitch right there. You know, every one of them, Jenny.
Thank you.
I had
Thank
work
you.
come up and go, hey, that was the best show you guys have done. I was like,
Hey, fuck off, man.
hey, wait. Like, thanks, but hey, fuck off.
Yeah. These backhanded compliments.
Yeah, right?
I hope you're feeling the love out there.
I am. Thank you to all you listeners. Honestly, I'm feeling the love. You guys reached out all over the place. I was at an event today, and a guy who's not even your listener said your listeners sent him the show. Then I saw somebody else walking down the street. You're always trying to make me more famous, man.
Yeah,
you know?
hey, you deserve it. If anyone I
Thank
know
you.
deserves
Thank you.
to be in the elite, you're just so good. I was talking to Dave Landau. You did. I hooked you up with Anthony Cumia and Landau when you were in New York, and you did their show. And I was talking to him about maybe getting you on the Crowder show. And I haven't talked to him since. And you're plenty busy, anyways. But he said, dude, top 5 interview we did the entire time I was there was Jenny. And I was like, holy shit, that's just awesome. And they interviewed everybody.
Thank
Name
you.
them, they've interviewed them. And he's like, dude, no, hands down, top 5 interview we did.
Listen,
So-
but it's also you guys, honestly. You're great at what you do. You're
Thank
very
you.
easy to talk to. You have a great audience that's built in. You're actually asking important questions and you're not closed-minded, right? So this is the thing I like about you. You listen, you try to understand what the situation is. You know, we don't always agree on the same points of view, which I find to be the best discussions
I
possible.
love that.
Because if we always all agree with each other, we're living in a chamber, and then you have a Putin situation, right? Because
Yeah.
you're in a chamber and everybody's telling you what you want to hear, versus it's important to have discussions, especially about things that you might not understand fully. So, you know, I appreciate you and your show and your listeners, 100%.
Well, they appreciate you a lot, and I can tell by the response. I can always gauge by the community's response. People from everywhere. All caps, thank you for having Jenny on. I appreciate you having Jenny on today's show. I learned a lot about a subject I had zero knowledge about. Best regards, Francis. That's what I was feeling. Was like, you know, when push comes to shove, this thing happened. Like, it's been talked about for so long. Like, oh, Putin might do something like he did in Crimea. Oh, he might try to take the Ukraine. But it hadn't happened.
Right.
And so it was just kind of like, yeah, what, wake me up if something happens. Otherwise, it's just saber rattling. And so I think for a lot of people, it took us by surprise when it was like, oh, shit, what's going on here?
And not just that, like the level of what happened, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't-
Because me, like everybody else, yes, I have more knowledge, but I'm like, okay, he's going to go in, he's going to take this little piece that they've been debating about, and that's fucked up, just like Crimea was fucked up. And then
Yeah.
he'll take this piece, and hopefully he'll just shut the fuck up, and, you know, this whole thing will go away.
Yeah.
Nobody in their sane mind, I think, like, could have ever imagined where we are today, 5 days into this
Yeah.
fucking war.
Isn't that sort of like deciding to wash the front right bumper or fender of your car and just stopping there? Like, nobody would do that. You either wash your car or you don't wash your car. So the idea that he would go in and just be like, oh, just this little sliver right here.
Yeah, but that's
I mean,
what he had been bitching.
Yeah, that's what they've been bickering about
Yeah.
for the last 8
Yeah.
years. He wanted that piece 8 years ago. And for the past 8 years, that was the constant point of contention. That possible
Was he trying to
NATO-
connect to Crimea? Because that's sort of like an isolated piece that he.
No,
they
because
took
that
over.
piece is on the east, Crimea is on the south.
Okay, I wasn't sure what exactly the part was that he was
I
trying
mean,
to take.
looking back now, right, in hindsight, he was probably planning to do this all along. But
Yeah.
we'll never know. He was taking that piece because notoriously, eastern side of Ukraine is always more Russian. You know, as we go into this debate, like who is speaking Russian, who is speaking, you know, Ukrainian. It's such a complex subject, right? Because everybody was the same people. Russian
Yeah.
was the same language. You
Right.
know, the mentality was always the same. But
So, can
in
you-
Ukraine, the east and the west are definitely different.
Do they speak a similar, like if you're speaking Ukrainian, do you understand Russian and vice versa?
So most people in Ukraine, before they became independent and gained their independence, spoke Russian because that was mandatory. So
Right.
the big map of the Soviet Union, whether you were from Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, any stan,
All the stans.
Ukraine, Baltics, you were forced to learn Russian language in school. So up until all of those people and the collapse of Soviet Union,
89, 90?
89 is when I came here. 90, the collapse started.
Okay.
Different countries gained their independence in different times, but we're talking, you know, early to mid 90s, when all those people finally said, we're not in Soviet Union anymore, we're our own country. Only then were they really able to institute their own languages as a part of the curriculum.
Okay.
So some of the language was in the curriculum, but that was not the language that was spoken. That's a first language. So most older people speak Russian. All of the younger people actually in Ukraine speak Ukrainian. Lots of them speak English.
Yeah.
When people
Yeah, I'm
speak,
seeing that on TV. There's a
Yeah,
lot of interviews
quite a
going
bit.
on with mothers and
Yeah.
their children in shelters and bomb shelters.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised at how good their English
Yeah,
is.
definitely. And, you know, when people speak some Ukrainian, I could understand it, but not really. It's closer to sort
Mm-hmm.
of Polish in that part of the world than to Russian.
So whenever I've seen you the last couple times you've been here, you're on your phone a ton. You're watching real-time video. You're not watching CNN or Fox News or reading the Daily Mail or USA Today. You've got like video. I don't know where you're getting it even.
So I'm on Telegram channels. I don't know if you know what Telegram is.
Like
So
people-
I'm on Telegram channels. I'm signed in to several channels, and those channels are reporting real time. Everything is verified. So I'm only looking at things that have been verified to make sure that I'm not reading anything that's fake. They are reporting both sides. So I'm seeing how Russia is reporting this war, how Ukraine is reporting this war. So I'm keeping up with that. I also signed into a channel which I could not take, and I had to sign off that channel. They created a channel to identify all of the bodies of the Russian soldiers that have been killed, together with all of the people that have been captured. So they're giving an opportunity for all the hostages to tell their parents where they are, what their names are.
Jeez.
And I watched over and over and over again 18 to 22-year-old kids
Yeah.
trying to
That's
tell
the
their
saddest
parents
part is
where
that
they are.
they're kids that
They're
are doing
kids.
that are caught up in this. I caught that was over in Iraq and Afghanistan for a few years over there, and that was the biggest thing that hit me was that these are kids that are fighting these wars. They're
Yeah.
being told what to do that don't really have a dog in the fight.
It felt like when we were
It's-
18, we were adults. But you
Yeah,
look at 18-year-olds now,
not
and it's like,
that.
no. But
And
it
now
was
when
the
you
same.
have to
It
do
was the
things
same.
like this, it's unmentionable.
it's-
It's
the
inhumane.
feeling when you're 18 is what I mean.
Yeah.
We were kids too.
Oh yeah.
If you would have put a fucking Kalashnikov in our hands and told us to go fight a war, we would have been. I mean,
Listen, the biggest difference is Ukrainians are getting these boys in front of the camera and they're asking them, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Okay. What are you fighting for? Answer me this question. A lot of them were saying, I thought I'm coming on a drill. They didn't even know
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw
that this
some of
is a
that.
war, that special
How is that
military
possible?
operation, right? So we're going to rename a book now, Special Military Operation and Peace. That's like an ongoing joke. Like they won't even say the word war.
Yeah.
And then, you're looking at Ukrainians that are fighting for their lives. They're fighting for their country. They clearly have a purpose. And you're looking at a vast mass of Russian soldiers who are young boys that have nothing to fight for. What are
Yeah.
they fighting for?
Orders. That's it.
yeah, orders.
That's
Do they
their
even
job.
do they even understand it all, or have they been so propagandized to believe
Extremely
that they're
propagandized.
So they think they're saving Ukraine.
So
or,
right now, 100% unequivocally, he stepped up propaganda. In the last 5 days, the propaganda machine that was always there went from here to here. He just put a 10x steroids all the way. He just gave a speech where he said, oh, look, Germany gave Ukrainians weapons. They're Nazis. I told you they're Nazis.
Yeah.
In the past 5 hours, there are billboards going all over Russia. Every billboard is getting replaced with his face that said, see, we have no choice. Okay? All of the propaganda is going like this. They're Nazis. Americans are heavily involved in this. We're enemy number one. I want you guys
Right.
to fully realize this. We're enemy number one. We're getting blamed for all of it. The United States is getting blamed for everything with a rhetoric. If Zelensky and the Ukrainians would only stop taking money from, the Americans,
From
so
the
they
West,
would
yeah.
stop doing all of this, none of this would happen. So essentially, America is at fault. They're Nazis, and we're coming to free the people. Fuck that. They're not freeing anybody. No, those people were free before you showed up.
Right. Didn't they drop a cruise missile in a Freedom Square today?
Yes.
And a government building?
Yes, one of the largest cities, Kharkov. Before I got here, I'm getting alarming messages. Why you see me on the phone as well. I am on the ground with many different organizations and WhatsApp channels where we're getting people out that we can get out. We're delivering supplies, night goggle vision, drones, whatever we can get our hands on. So we are talking to a real front line, and we're trying to do all of that. Before I got here, that city annihilated. That's one of the largest cities. There was no military objects in that square. He essentially 100% unequivocally attacked a civilian area.
Yeah. A lot of them, it sounds like.
Yeah, but
But that
that
one-
massive.
That was a government building, too.
Yeah, it was a government building, and I mean all the.
I mean, what's he trying to do? Take out the government, literally, with a
yes. There
with a
is
missile strike.
There's special forces with a directive to kill the government and the president of the country. They have playing cards. I mean, they borrowed that play from the
Yeah.
Americans.
Yep,
we know
sure.
that, right?
Yep.
We're famous at creating playing cards of people we're trying to take out.
So is Zelensky the ace?
Probably. I don't
Yeah.
know. But think about it. It's 2022. They entered a sovereign nation and they have a playing card of an acting president that
Yeah.
did not commit anything against them,
Yeah.
didn't do anything to them, and the directive is to kill.
That's unbelievable. What is it true that Russia is teaming up with China now? It sounds like that's scary as shit. If that's true, that I
You
mean,
know
to
what, the
avoid
Chi-
sanctions, the Chinese are going to go with.
I don't know. I feel like Chinese have always been whores.
Yeah,
Excuse my expression. They're sitting on the fence and they're waiting to see which way it's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're going to go that way. I think And I feel from everything I've seen, Putin and Russians thought that China will be there to back them up from the very beginning. We
Yep.
saw that that did not happen. So,
Yeah, because they have an equal enemy in us.
yes.
It makes sense for them to team up. China and Russia, the biggest two enemies right now, currently, of the United States.
True, but China is very tied in with us financially in
Yeah.
many different levels. Plus, they don't want to put the bet on the wrong horse. So they're going to see how this plays out.
I heard Nikki Haley give an interview today, and she was talking about how this current administration is not doing nearly enough to help the Ukraine. And she said, and I wrote down what she said. I don't want to take credit for it. She's the one
Sure.
that was saying it, but she said, cut off all Russian oil coming into the U.S. He can do it instantly by opening up the Keystone Pipeline. I don't know if that's true. Sanction every energy company in Russia right now. She claimed we're spending $58 million a day on Russian oil. Eliminate them from SWIFT, which is the international banking
Right.
system.
So, I mean, $58 million a day is nothing. You understand that? That's a very small number.
Sure.
I think when people talk about that, that's all very surface. We don't know what else lies there and what tactics are there, right? So today people are like, we should be doing X, Y, and Z. Here's the position that I think we're in. His number one ace is propaganda saying Americans are trying to kill us. They're trying to choke us off from the world. So if we start doing major things, right? He's right, essentially. He takes more of that and he just blows it up. He goes, oh, you see, I told you, Americans are fucking with us, right? So I feel like if we're doing this with the rest of the world at the same pace that everybody is doing this, right, then we are not the enemy number one that they could use our own words against us.
Okay.
Do you understand how I'm laying this out?
Yeah, I do.
Because a minute Biden comes out, and I don't care who the president would be right now. Again, this is not political to me. At this point, I'm a humanitarian trying to save lives and trying to take the right side of the history. If any president would come out right now and start like hardcore shit, he would be playing on every Russian television all day and all night saying those words. And then he's got every Russian person convinced because right now they're saying it, not we.
But I feel like there's so many Russian people who live in free countries now, right? Whether it's Canada, the United States, and they have open phone lines to family and friends back home.
It's impossible to talk to them.
You got it. Why?
They're brainwashed. Dude,
So
I
you
called
c-
my cousin. Okay, do you understand? My cousin.
Yeah.
I called my cousin. I cannot talk to her because all she's doing is telling me the exact same things that the television is saying. It's an agenda. They've been brainwashing them for this moment for a really long time. If you're an average Russian person, all that's going to happen right now, you're going to call somebody there who is slightly older. The younger people we could probably have a conversation with. It's impossible. They're gonna regurgitate his narrative. That's what's happening. They're brainwashed, Mike. Wow. They've cut off their Instagram for the most part. They're blocking their Facebooks. They've taken out every media that you could potentially. They've marked them as a CIA spy or an agent.
Does text or email work? Could you email them videos, text them
Yeah, people are
videos?
sending it to them. They're saying they're all fakes because that's what he is saying.
Really?
He's saying this is fake. He is saying that if a bomb is hitting civilian buildings, he's saying Ukrainians are doing this to set them
Yeah,
up.
okay. This is Palestine versus Israel all over again.
Right.
It's he is creating. Well, he and the people that he's doing this with, he's obviously not at this alone. So I'll stop saying he. It's the regime
Yeah.
that knows how to play out of this propaganda book. And they're using it. And the people are brainwashed. And the ones that are not brainwashed, they're scared, afraid, or are going to jail.
Yeah.
A minute they step outside.
Yeah, I see the same kind of things falling into this propaganda where I heard that Russian media was claiming that Ukrainians were holding children as shields
Oh, I'm
in
sure.
front of them.
Yeah, I'm sure they're like, oh, look at them. They're putting their
Yeah, they're animals.
military, their animals. They're putting their
Yeah.
military objects, like where the civilians are and where their kindergarten. All of that is bullshit.
So
but
how
they're
do-
selling it, and they're selling it hard.
Yeah.
And that's why everybody who is in the
But
West,
the rest of the world ain't buying it.
of course,
Nobody.
the world is not buying it. That's why what's important right now, the only people that maybe can get through to them, and we're trying to get through to all the Russian celebrities, okay?
Yeah.
You've got a huge following, and you are Russian, and you haven't been banned. Go out there and speak the fucking truth.
You're talking about Russian
Celebrities.
here.
In
Well,
Russia,
In Russia, they
here,
go to jail
every-
immediately.
then I don't know. Then figure it out. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. You got to do something. Maybe these are the people that can get through.
Stand by and watch this happen is
Yeah.
negligent.
Where do you think we are? When you were here the other day, you thought that Kyiv would fall within 96 hours or something.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think now? I mean, I got to be honest. From the media I'm watching, I'm not watching the same as you, but from the media I'm watching, it sounds like these Ukrainians are fucking badasses, and they're very proud people,
Yeah.
and they are putting up a fight, and Putin's pissed.
They have
Yes.
something to
I
fight
don't,
for.
I don't know if that narrative is true, but it sounds like they are telling them to fuck off to their face
Yes.
and not putting up with it, and they are fighting their asses off.
They are absolutely. They are the most. I have so much respect for those people. They are the most resilient human beings. I mean, to pick up guns and to go fight and not to flee. And a lot of people are fleeing, but a lot of people are staying. Women are picking up guns. Men are picking up guns. I don't care. Grandmas are picking up guns, and they're gonna fight, and they're gonna fight till the end. What's happening is, I thought, Putin miscalculated how fast he's gonna get this done, right? So he sends 1/3 of his army. And he sends all the young kids, and in his mind, I feel like he thinks he's going to be greeted with flowers, and it's going to be Crimea. It's going to be an easy takeover. It's not happening. But what's coming up behind that, now that he's pissed, is the real special forces, the Chechens, and a 44-mile convoy of modern military. And the latest news that I just heard, I read before I got here, they're about 30 miles outside of Kyiv.
They're closer than that.
They're
about,
just-
last I heard, they were about 12 miles.
Now, couldn't you
So-
just, like, go Vietnam style and just napalm that shit? I mean, if they're in a single file line, 44 miles long, couldn't you just
They're
come through
44
with?
miles long and like 2 to 3 deep, wide.
So I don't know.
But it's all
the
tanks, armored.
Airports have been destroyed, from what I understand. The Ukrainian military airports.
Jenny, what
who's
they're-
coming in?
What they were putting, the Ukrainian citizens were going out there and putting tables and pottery plants in the way
To block the road.
to block the road.
They were also standing in front of the
standing in
tanks.
front of it. I mean, pottery plants. You're talking about tanks, full military arsenal, and you're putting out anything you can. Tables, like
There was hundreds of people in one village standing in front of a tank.
yeah.
And saying, "Roll over me," whatever. Like, is this? What are you doing here? The conversations that we're watching between Ukrainian citizens and the Russian soldiers. It's breaking my heart.
It's got to be.
All you've got is you have these people that just want this other people who are aggressors just to leave.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything to them.
defending themselves.
One day you woke up and you were about to have a cup of coffee and motherfuckers are bombing
Yeah.
your land. And all of the excuses they can make, it's not true. And
Yeah.
if you really were concerned about this little sliver and you really think that there's genocide, which none of it is true, but you really think these people are suffering and that's your that's what you want, then go take that. And you would have
Yeah.
taken that. And that would have been it. But that's not your agenda. Their agenda is destruction.
Yeah. And for the rest of their lives, those people will never forget this. People who attacked them. You know, I think about my grandfather who was stationed at Pearl Harbor when it was bombed by the Japanese and saw the Japanese, red dot on the planes going by and was bombed and was in that war. To the day he fucking died on his 90th birthday, he fucking hated those people.
Of course. I was like, how could you not?
Right.
I mean,
there
like,
was no making peace with him. you know?
ramifications of this, the fallout. And that's their
Huge.
neighbors. And
Their
that's
neighbors.
their brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
A lot of them speak the same language. I mean, I think about what's going to happen to Russia and Russian people. What's going to happen to Ukraine and Ukrainian people. Right? Like, how could people... There was one guy that came out in the middle of the square in Russian. He didn't give a shit. And he was wearing like a whole Ukrainian outfit. And he said, I wouldn't be able to look my Ukrainian relatives in the eyes if I
Yeah.
didn't do this. And he's standing there alone.
How would you compare Ukraine and Russia? Is that like Mexico and America, America
No,
and
it's
Canada?
it's like Canada and America. It's a brother and sister.
Yeah, okay.
Except in the past few years, we saw a very big divide in the mentality of the people. And the Ukrainians went into a Western mentality,
Yeah.
and the Russians, due to the nature of their regime, not due to the nature of the people. Because Russian people, I want everybody to understand, They're not bad people. It's
course
not
not.
about the people. They're people who are terrified of their government.
Yep.
They did not make this choice. They're consistently being lied to. And Ukraine went a separate way, and they became a lot more westernized, and I'm sure it pissed them off. It's
Yeah.
like he's the only person at the party doing cocaine, and everybody else is sober.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And he is fucking pissed because these people are now adapting democracy, and they're adapting the Western way of life, and he cannot take it.
How do you think Zelensky's doing?
I saw a picture of him, didn't have a chance to read an article. He's in a bunker. They're coming for him.
Really? He's in a bunker now?
He's in a bunker now. That's the latest that I saw. I didn't have a chance to read where he was. He took a picture from the bunker. I don't know how he's doing. I mean, the guy was
He's a badass, though.
he was
Yeah,
an actor and a
stud.
comedian
Stud.
before this.
Yeah.
He did not have a mentality of a typical politician.
Which is why the people liked him.
Yeah, and he wasn't actually liked by a lot of people.
Really?
Yeah, there
He
was
is
this.
now.
He is now, and some Ukrainian friends that I'm having conversations with at the beginning of this, like we didn't like him, but now we do.
Yeah.
He showed the biggest balls and the
Yep.
best leadership qualities I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Partially, what's happening today in his sort of inexperience as a politician could have led us to this situation, though, if you weigh it from a political standpoint.
How do you mean?
So this is just going to be my personal opinion,
Mm-hmm.
which I usually don't do, but it's my personal opinion. I think America has a lot to do with what's happening today.
Yeah.
I
You wouldn't be the first to say that.
Yeah, so I think we came in there with what we usually do, you know. Hey, come for this ride with us. There's money and there are all these great things, which is true, right? So I obviously live here. I love this country. I love the American way of life. I love the freedom. I hope the whole world would adapt a lot of our values. Not some of them. I feel like some
Yep.
of them we could leave behind. But as overall, I feel we have beautiful things, such as number one motherfucking thing, which is freedom.
Yeah.
I can go tomorrow and I can say, fuck Trump, fuck Biden, fuck whoever I want to fuck.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to jail tomorrow and nobody's breaking my face.
Yeah,
Okay?
very
I
true.
can listen to 24 different channels that are giving me 24 different POVs and I'm not listening to one. I could take my wife's hand and I can take my son's hand and I could go, this is my wife, this is my son. I'm not going to jail. I love all of those things, right? And by all means, I think Ukraine should have all of them, right? Because they're human. But where they're positioned is their disadvantage. Because Putin made it very clear. This is a red zone. You are waving a fucking red thing in front of me like a bull. And
Yep.
if you're going to start bringing NATO into this, I'm going to get really pissed. And if you're going to bring EU into this, I'm going to get really pissed and I'm going to retaliate. And I think we had a lot.
What is he afraid of? Losing to the West? Losing more?
What is he afraid of? That's a very interesting question. I'm not in his head. That line is too close to comfort. He's maybe afraid that, you know, you always need an enemy. And all of a sudden you've got a country right next door to you with all these human rights and all these wonderful things that are happening. And now somebody's cousin is calling this cousin and they're
Yeah,
like, oh, and in my country you
threat.
can do this. It's a threat because I think eventually it could lead to the people having enough balls or having enough people organized
That
where,
makes total sense.
where he would be overthrown. So I think he's afraid of losing control. He's an egomaniac that lives in an alternative reality that it has so much power and has scared people so much that we don't know how this happens. So I think Ukraine is collateral damage. I think we stand by now and we wait till that Russia explodes from within. Like if I had to think about how, you know, if we are really planning a regime change as a country, as America, and we know and everybody knows we've had quite a few of those, and we've had our hands in many regime changes, right? If we were, I played out that scenario. If we were Americans wanting a regime change, how would we do this? Perfect scenario. We tell Ukraine we're going to back them, then we don't. He goes in, the war is devastating, we cover it, right? The world is pissed. We start fucking over the Russians. We keep doing this and doing this and doing this until this grows so much that the people rise from the inside and they overthrow him. What other way is there? This
Yeah.
is the chessboard.
Yeah.
And people are playing games and there's collateral damage every single day.
Yeah. Well, today, Zelensky went to the Parliament, European
Yeah.
Parliament. He was in a bunker somewhere via Skype link or something, and said we want into the EU, and they granted that. They accepted his application this afternoon, after he gave a big speech and got a huge standing ovation. That was
Yeah.
impressive as shit. I mean, those people stood and applauded for what felt like an eternity in support of him. I thought the way the EU worked, or maybe it's just NATO. Maybe NATO you can just get in, but the EU, is that different? Like, what is he trying to join NATO or the EU?
He's trying to join European Union. I don't know
Okay.
what the NATO status is at this point. I haven't been following it. I'm too
Can't they
busy
fast
trying to
track that?
save people.
Yeah, that's what they're debating now about fast tracking it. So if he gets into the EU, does that give world protection, like NATO would, or no?
No.
Okay,
No.
So
That's almost financial, isn't it? Sort of the EU.
Yeah,
is sort of,
it's other. It gives his people freedom to travel. It's other financial things. It's much
So I thought
bigger.
anybody that wanted could get into NATO. And if the Ukraine gets into NATO, which they are on the list for, that would give them, all of a sudden, he'd be attacking a NATO country, and that would get the world involved. All of a sudden, all those nations that are involved with NATO would be able to take fire at Russia, which is scary as shit, because then, God knows, all bets are off. You could have a full-fledged World War III with nuclear superpowers.
yeah, you never know.
I mean, that's...
But okay, so I played out that scenario. But that's like, what
Isn't
does
that a terrifying scenario?
What does that do? It makes him push the button.
Yeah,
So
potentially.
right, so like NATO membership, everybody gets involved. So that's it. He is a giant bear with a nuclear button, and you're poking him in the eyes and now in the balls. So what does he do? Are you willing to take that chance?
Is he willing to blow up the world?
Who knows? Like I told you last time, I'm
Yeah.
holding an AK-47 and I look fucking crazy, and I have my finger on the trigger.
Yeah.
Well, it's,
Do you think I pulled the trigger? Or
but
not?
it's
What do you
different
think?
if
I
you're
don't know.
standing there staring at a guy with a gun and you wonder if he's going to pull the trigger. It's a hell of a lot different if it's just you or if there's 10 other people standing behind you with a gun. So if he does pull the trigger, then it's over. So
Yeah.
if that's the case, if he does go that, I mean, it's almost suicide.
Listen, if
to
anybody
start
pushes
that.
the button,
Yeah.
then you know there's rumors that he has cancer.
Yeah, I saw that today.
That's been rumored for quite
Dementia
some time.
or not dementia, but something like that.
He looks crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did you see him sit at that table, that 100-foot table?
It's just like, yeah, it's the whole thing is so surreal,
Hmm.
right? And who takes him out? That's the question of the day. Listen, I never wish death upon anybody.
Yeah.
I'm a humanitarian. I never want to see people die. But who takes this person out that is terrorizing the world?
Yeah.
Who can do it?
See, I take issue with something you said the other day. I asked you if you thought this would happen if Trump was still in office, and you said yes. And I wonder about that. And I don't want to make it political.
Sure.
But you know, the rumor is Trump told Putin, "Look, if you fucking take one step into the Ukraine, I will level Moscow." That's a rumor that's going around.
You know what that would do?
I don't know.
It would make Putin laugh his ass off, okay?
Yeah.
And he'd go fuck yourself, Mr. Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, if that was said to him, that would just rile him up.
You think so?
So much more.
Yeah.
Do you think Putin would ever be afraid of what
Well,
Trump
it wouldn't look
says?
good if Moscow was leveled and the Americans did it. I mean, Moscow's beautiful.
Listen, if Moscow is leveled and the Americans did it, then New York is leveled and
Yeah.
the Russians did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you understand? We both,
yeah.
like, you know, we hold this, they hold that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wish somebody would just get rid of all these nuclear weapons, period.
Yeah.
So this was not a card that anybody is holding,
Yeah.
right? Because some people get to choose and hold that card and some people don't. Who decides who holds this card, right? Russia asked Ukraine to give up their weapons, nuclear weapons, in 1994. They said, you don't need them, we'll protect you. Fast forward. They are attacking.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, again, I'll go to that. Not for a single second Putin was ever afraid when Trump was in office.
Really?
His rhetoric has always been, I can control him.
I can control Trump.
Yes.
Yeah. He must think Biden's a nothing.
I don't know.
got
What
to.
I don't know what he thinks. I really don't know what he thinks. And, you know, hopefully America is structured in a way where it's not one person
Yeah,
that's making
true,
any of these decisions, right? We function as a democracy in many ways, and many people have to be in on this decision, right?
Yeah.
So,
Unlike for Putin. Putin has carte blanche.
of course,
Yeah.
he's always had it. So, I mean, I think the moment of the weakness of this world was when Crimea was taken and nobody did anything about
Yeah.
it. The fucking little sanctions that everybody imposed during that time did nothing but hurt people like my wife's family and me because
Yeah.
I couldn't send her money. And when I went there to visit them, I couldn't use my American phone or my Facebook or any of those things, okay? What
Jeez.
did it really do? And when we created those sanctions, we also told them what other sanctions we could have possibly done and not have done them. And we gave them 8 years to prepare for the sanctions.
Yeah.
That's why we're not seeing the financial collapse that we were hoping for because they already knew exactly what to get ready for.
What do you think of Elon Musk and what he did?
I think he's incredible. Elon Musk, I
Fucking
love
awesome,
you.
isn't it?
To think that we live in a world where somebody tweets you something and then in 3 days or however many days you have, you give internet to the whole entire country.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? He flipped a switch.
You're a badass motherfucker, Elon
Yeah.
Musk.
Yeah. Amen.
You know what? He's Iron Man. You want to explain? Well, I can explain it. Starlink satellites, which SpaceX owns, Elon Musk owns. The Ukrainian defense minister tweeted at him and went, "Hey, dude," and I could read what you said. He said something like, "Russia's trying to occupy Ukraine. While you try to colonize Mars, Russia tries to occupy Ukraine. While your rockets successfully land from space, Russian rockets attack Ukrainian civil people. We ask you to provide Ukraine with Starlink stations and to address sane Russians to stand. Starlink service is now active in Ukraine," he tweets
Bam.
back.
Just fuck.
More terminals en route, and they're already there.
Yeah.
And so there is, from what I understand, there's literally nothing Putin can do about this.
The internet.
So what this means is when you're trying to kill communications, when you're trying to kill all that stuff and shut it down so that the Ukrainians don't know what's going on in the outside
Right.
world, how things are being talked about,
Right.
what humanitarian aid is on its way. When you shut them, black them out, Elon Musk single-handedly flipped the switch and gave them fucking internet.
Sure. And all the phone
And
companies.
Russia can't do shit about it.
Yeah, Russia took out the main television tower today in Kiev.
I saw that
Yeah.
right
They
before I
hit
came
that.
down here.
They also took off the air Russian radio station that was doing independent reporting. They've marked every.
Were they doing fair reporting?
Yes.
Really?
Yep, they were doing fair reporting. They've been shut down. On the way here, they've marked 2 more people that were trying to cover this in Russia as FBI, CIA agents and operatives and foreign agents. So his propaganda machine is working overtime.
Yeah.
And every minute on the minute, people are just inundated, Russian people are inundated with wrong information.
This is just incredible. So people are still protesting in Moscow, though. Like they don't care. And they're
Some
getting
do.
arrested. Thousands, by the thousands they are. Like they know what's going on.
Some of them, the younger people, again, like I told you, the category of people who are intellectuals, who are not brainwashed, who are younger people, who are figuring out how to get access to this, are protesting. But if you are in any public sphere and you said one word, it's like Jimmy Fallon equivalent. We had an evening show in Russia. The guy said one word, he was
Yeah.
removed immediately. The show is completely gone.
Wow.
And when he was confronted, like when they confronted the producer of the show, he's like, no, it's not completely gone. It's just we're covering the war, so that's why it's gone. But that's not why it's gone. It's never coming back.
And they know. But don't the people know that?
No.
How do they not
Dude,
know?
it's-
Because
Jimmy
they're-
Fallon's here one day and he's gone the next, and it's like, yeah, we're covering the war.
Yeah.
And they go, oh,
I
okay.
don't, you guys are so lucky. You just don't understand
It's hard to comprehend.
what
That's
it's
why.
like if I locked you in this room and you only had like this TV and every day, all day long, I only showed you specific kind of information, you will believe it very fast.
Yeah.
Propaganda is one of the most dangerous things in the world.
Has been forever.
Of course.
Need to show them George Orwell,
Of course.
you know?
And they know how to execute that.
Yeah.
They're masters of it.
Yeah. So I don't know what you do. There's got to be a way to get through to people. I don't know. Today negotiations went on between the Ukraine and Russia. First round ended. Of course, nothing came of it. I know your response
Because
already.
negotiations, Putin style, like, you know what, I had hope.
Is it bullshit?
No, I had hope for 1 second, and I'll tell you why I had the hope. When they said negotiations, I was like, okay. Negotiations, which is why Ukrainians turned out the first round, was a phone call saying, we would like for you to fully surrender. Let's negotiate, right? So Zelensky and the Ukrainians are like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
So second
That's the
round of
mantra.
negotiations.
That's hilarious.
Second round of negotiations. Oh, and by the way, come to Belarus so we can get you and probably kill you. Right?
Yeah.
That's the undertone, right? Second round of negotiations, come to the border. You know, they're bringing this guy who is a historian, a politician, somewhat, Mizinsky. I was like, what? Why are they bringing this guy? And then they bring out Abramovich. For people that don't know who Abramovich is, he's a Russian oligarch. I don't know. He's somewhere in Forbes. Look him up.
See one of those 7?
He is one of those people. He owns the Chelsea Football Club.
Oh, wow.
He owns one of the largest yachts in the world. Super rich. I don't know how many billions of dollars he is worth off the top of my head.
Is that the one they tried to sink? His yacht?
I don't know if it's his yacht or some
okay.
other yacht. No, I think it's somebody else's yacht. Like he's got this fucking 300-foot whatever yacht.
Yeah.
So I'm like, ooh, he's sending a rich guy and a smart guy, the one that lives in London and has Western views. I'm like, maybe there's hope, right?
This is Putin's buddy.
Putin's buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of people in Russia say that he's actually holding all of Putin's money.
Really?
Because the version of what's happening is there's all these oligarchs, but a lot of this money belongs to Putin. They're just holding the money. So when they send that guy, I was like, ooh, he's got a different mentality. He's lived in the West, and he has a lot to lose because he has a lot of money. He's gonna try to figure this shit out, right?
Yeah, right.
And he's super smart. So negotiations went like this. Point number 1, we would like for the world to recognize that Crimea is ours.
You're done.
Like, really?
Yeah.
You launched a full-scale attack on this other country, and your first point of negotiations is you would like for the world, which you know is never going to happen,
No.
right, because of the stand where everybody is,
Yeah.
to recognize that Crimea is not an annexed territory. I mean, you're already there trying to fucking lose this it's a joke at this point.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
Point number 2, get rid of all the Nazis in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Get
Okay,
rid of.
done. That one's
I
done.
mean, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Now on to the next negotiation. Okay, let's see what that clown show looks like. Zelensky did reach out today and said, "I'm willing to have a one-on-one conversation with Putin."
Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting because I did hear people saying these negotiations can absolutely be bullshit in that Putin's just trying to buy time. He didn't think it was going to take quite this long to break through Ukraine. He's resting his men and trying to refuel tanks and stuff like that. That's what the negotiation is. It buys him an afternoon. I don't know if that's
Stall
true.
tactic.
Stall tactic, but he has no.
I don't know,
He's
but
no
the
plan to
outcome,
negotiate.
yeah, but outcome of those negotiations, if those are really his points, it's never gonna.
irrelevant.
It's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen.
What do the people in Ukraine and Kiev especially think of the global response?
I mean, I'm sure they're thrilled. Honestly, I don't know what the mass, again, honestly, I'm super heads down. All I can do is
Yeah.
we are on the ground. And if anybody knows anybody who needs help in Ukraine, or if people are in other countries, we are hardcore on the ground. I'm working with a network of people. We're moving people out of danger. We're providing them medical supplies.
What does that mean? Move them somewhere else in the country?
In the
to a safer
country,
spot?
outside of the country, getting people medical supplies,
How do you even know where to start with that?
I'm tapped into. So I belong to an entrepreneur organization called the EO.
Mm-hmm.
It's global. We've got lots of members. We've kind of mobilized EO Poland, which is the top entrepreneurs in Poland, put a network together. So I am working, I'm tapped in with them. At the same time, because of people we know, people in Ukraine have our phone number. They are reaching out. So we're connecting the dots. People call us with the needs. We're getting calls. We're filling these needs elsewhere. We're connecting the people. By
Are the
Friday,
needs different by region, town?
Sure. I think the needs are different by where the war is happening, like legit hardcore, what cities are getting bombed and what they need.
Is there a way for
versus,
people to find that, to help out, to donate?
Yeah,
or any
yeah.
of
I can
that?
give you guys a link
Yeah, that'd be
to
amazing.
that page of
Yeah.
where we're doing
Yeah,
everything.
let's post that out.
Yeah, so
For
we're
sure.
we're connecting people. We're trying to move them out. We're trying to help with the refugee crisis and just move people out of the border.
Have you ever hooked up with Glenn Beck?
No,
You know Glenn
No.
Beck? You know who he is? No? TV personality, radio guy.
no.
He did tremendous work in this area when the withdrawal from Afghanistan was a total shit show. and you stranded thousands of Americans there, and people with green cards, people we promised that were translators that we would get out of there, and then we pulled our military out beforehand when the bomb went off. That whole shit show. He got more people out of there in a humanitarian way with channels that he has.
Yep.
I mean, he sounds perfect for something like this. I don't know if it's quite to that level.
Yeah, I mean,
got
listen,
it.
all the help that I feel like we can get. To
I don't know
me-
Glenn, but I know people
Yeah.
who know Glenn.
Yeah, and to me, I'm heads down in WhatsApp channels and on Telegram channels where we're trying to connect the dots. We have a big document, so whatever the needs arise, like I told you before I got here, I got a message. Can you help my family get food in Kharkov? Can you get 7
Food in
people?
what?
Food in Kharkov. Kharkov is the
Not a
city
city.
that got
Oh,
bombed.
Just got blown up. Yeah.
Can you get 7 people out? Can you move them out? Can you get me flour in Kherson? Like,
Meanwhile,
You
you,
know.
also hear 6 children died in a bombing like that.
it's
That video they showed last night, I don't know if you've seen it, but that 6-year-old girl who they were trying to resuscitate, and the doctors are going, Putin, you motherfucker, you fucking piece of shit, Putin, while they're trying to resuscitate this girl for an hour while their mom's sobbing.
and
standing-
over
it's-
what? What is
For
the
nothing.
What is the purpose of this war?
Ego.
What is the point? Wake up.
Do the Ukrainians at all feel like the world's abandoned them? Like, we've been standing here on an island for 7 days now. Where is the
Yes.
international support
Yes,
coming in to
a
help?
lot of people, and including early Zelensky speeches, felt abandoned.
I was thinking that last night, like
And
watching
he
this.
specifically, that's why he said when they called him, the Biden administration offered him a ride out. He said, "I don't need a
I
ride.
don't
I
need
need
a ride.
bullets."
What a
Yeah.
great comment.
Absolutely.
I mean, he
just a
does not
great
want a
comment.
ride. I mean, you've got the heavy boxing world champion Klitschko, who is the mayor of Kiev.
yeah.
He's
Yeah.
fighting. You got the whole entire
The dancing
soccer team.
with the stars guy, Maxim,
They
whatever.
are
He's over there.
they are fighting. I
Because
mean,
it's their country.
and Sean Penn is there. Jesus, like Sean Penn.
I was
going
going to ask
doing,
you
dude?
about that. Sean Penn, you know what? I'm on the fence with Sean Penn. He's such a douche sometimes, but
He's a badass. He's in a
he
war
means
zone,
well.
dude.
I know. I think he means well, but he's done this where it's like, okay, there's a catastrophe going on at Katrina. You've got 2 cameramen and a boat. You're taking up resources to like show that you're helping, and it's like, okay, we don't need a camera crew here. But I understand he's in the Ukraine. He's hanging out at press conferences. He's filming a documentary for Vice, I believe,
Yeah.
about the conflict, and has been doing it since last November or
Right.
something.
It's been ongoing, right?
And it sounds like the Ukrainians are very happy with that. I mean, he obviously can bring you global attention.
Exactly.
He's an Oscar winner.
Listen, at this point, anybody and everybody, that's why when I posted, I said, you have a voice. And that's why this whole Ovechkin situation is really pissing me off. And
Which situation?
Ovechkin.
Oh, okay.
Ovechkin. So, Dominic Hasek, I
Yeah, yeah,
tagged
yeah.
you in that article, and he came out and he said, let's get all the Russians out. Now, that's crazy, okay?
Yeah.
Let's call it what it is. Not everybody, not every Russian person shares this sentiment. And the fact that you guys are pouring out like Russian vodka out there is the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
You already paid for it.
Like seriously.
buy more, but-
when you track what those companies are, they're actually American owned. They just at some point maybe licensed the name. That's doing nothing. Okay.
So you're talking about the party stores that pop up around the country
Smirnoff.
saying
Yeah,
we
just-
don't sell
Or
Russian vodka.
just
Stoli and
all
all
of
that.
that and pouring out the vodka. But when you come to these celebrities, right? And I thought about this really hard. If there is somebody who's got a lot of following, a lot of influence, that has family in Russia, I could understand their fear of speaking out. Okay. Now, Ovechkin lives in America. His family is here. He's making millions of dollars.
And it's
here.
very easy.
He is
to sit
a
where he is.
super powerful, very influential guy with millions of followers. He had a chance at the press conference to take a stand. And he decided to say that he's against the war and Putin is his president. You've made that comment.
Took a knee.
Yeah.
It's great. It's wonderful. So if you're so proud of it, I would love to see you pack up your bags, give up your very comfortable Washington, D.C. life, get rid of all of your contracts with whoever you have them, pack up your wife and your kids, and go live there and
he would
prove
never
to
do
me
that.
that Putin is your president.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you are here and you're enjoying this life and you're taking all of this money,
Yeah.
I understand if you remain silent. You know
you're
what?
in Russia.
At first, I did not. I was like, I want everybody to speak up. If
Mm-hmm.
you have the courage, please do. But I also understand what ramifications could be to their families and all of this other people.
I think one of the things too when you're talking about pouring out vodka, It reminds me of, LeBron James leaves the Cavaliers and goes to Miami, and people are burning LeBron James jerseys. They're hurt. They don't really have a voice. They don't really know what to do. They don't have any power as fans. So for people pouring out vodka, it's more symbolic than anything else. It's stupid. It's a waste of vodka. I would never fucking do that. Pretty damn good vodka too. But it is what it is, and it's their little way. Like when we were in high school is when the first Gulf War was going on.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like we're all wearing fucking peace necklaces and shit. Like we don't know shit. We're just dumb American kids.
Fly 1,000 miles to smoke a Camel or whatever. Remember that?
But
it was like
just,
an ad back
It was
then.
just our way of being like, yeah, man, we're against it. Peace.
Yeah.
Just dumb. I think a lot of people do that when they don't have real voices, don't have real power. So I don't go too hard on them.
But the ones that trashed the Russian restaurant in Washington, D.C.,
That's bullshit.
right? Like, you don't know how the owner of this business.
What do you think that Russian restaurant's doing there, assholes? Those are probably immigrants that bailed on that for a better life here and opened a Russian restaurant.
I have some friends that are starting to lose business, and people saying we don't want to do business with Russians or whatever else is happening. So,
There's going to be a whole stigma
again, like,
attached to it,
I
unfortunately.
think
I think it'll be different. I think people absolutely understand. For the vast majority, not isolated incidents,
Wow, tough.
the vast majority understand this is one man and one man only.
Tell that to the
This is
Asians.
not huh?
Tell that to the Asians.
No, well, that's still different.
Okay.
That still feels different to me. And,
We're just talking about the ignorance in the
ignorance
that is out
exists,
there.
but I
Yeah.
think the whole world knows that there's one fucking guy doing this and one regime, and it has nothing to do with the Russian people. Nothing.
Most people, not the people that trash the restaurant, not people that push, Asian chicks into the subway and shit like that.
Yeah.
Those aren't the people.
I mean, it's going to play out. We're going to see how it plays out.
Have you gotten any shit? Has anyone heard your voice and said something to you off color or looked at you sideways, followed you in a store? Have you
I'll
noticed
fucking end
any
them.
of that?
Tell me right now.
Yeah, all
not,
it was too.
not directly, right? But like being Asian, being Russian is different. So unless you have knowledge or you hear my accent and maybe you ask me or that information is out there, I don't know what's to come. And frankly, I don't give a fuck. I left that country in 1989 with my parents and we ran from there as fast as we fucking could. Okay? And
You were 13?
I was 14.
14.
But what saddens me right now, honestly, to think about this idea, because Russia as a country is beautiful, and there's so many beautiful things there, and so many beautiful people. And when I think about the fact that I might never go there again, it makes me really fucking sad.
Yeah.
I might never go to a city where I was born.
Yeah.
Never again.
Moscow is one of the prettiest cities ever. It looks like Disney World.
Unless there is a regime change, unless he is out, I will never be able to set my foot there, to my grandmother's grave or to any of those things.
It's just awful.
You think even with a regime change that that would do it? Or do you think the mentality is so ingrained over there that whoever's next is just going to continue?
I think
the
it
same?
depends what regime change is. So as we think about this, there are leaders with Western mentalities that could take over,
Yeah.
but they're probably not going to. And I guess who is changing the regime?
Right.
I mean, you look at Navalny, who is rotting in jail, who
Yeah.
is Putin's opposition that he tried to kill unsuccessfully.
Yeah, he was gaining support.
He was gaining tremendous support. You
Yep.
get that guy out of
Would he
jail.
be
You get
legitimate
him.
li-
He would be a
yeah.
legitimate leader. You get Khodorkovsky, who was Putin's biggest threat many years ago, that was rotting in jail until he made a deal with Putin to let him out to make sure that he'll never come back to Russia, who is in London right now. An incredible leader. So there's a couple people. So it depends on what that regime change looks like.
Wouldn't a radical change maybe not work as well either? I mean, do you look at someone like
Probably.
Gorbachev as a good leader, or
Yeah, probably. And I think about, like, I would love to see a radical change, but you're right. That country is too big.
Right.
It's too vast.
so you can't flip it on its side?
can't flip
so
it
you
on its
almost need
side.
someone halfway there, like
Right, but like somebody like Navalny that's been there for a long time, talking to people and explaining to them what the agenda was, somebody like that, possibly, but I don't know. Yes, there's a lot of people with that mentality that they've been brainwashed for so many years. But Soviet Union also fell apart, and everything that people knew turned on its head. And then it was really hard, and then it was better. And then there was Putin.
how do you think this plays out in the days to come?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I think tonight will show us a lot.
Why tonight versus?
If he's this close to Kiev, what does tonight look
Yeah,
like?
we'll see what
Yeah,
see
what
what
is the
happens
play
with
there?
Kiev.
Surround Kiev and just go full on. I mean, is he
And-
just going to slaughter human beings all over there? At what
Probably.
point?
I don't know. And some rumors indicate that Russians are also heading to the western side of Ukraine to cut off any aid, because everything is. That's the only border that we have with the country where we're able to get things into Ukraine.
I'm
Because
sorry, I'm
everything
ignorant with
else.
that. What borders over there?
So that's the
EU,
western border.
side. Yeah.
okay.
The western
so like
side,
Poland.
Poland,
Yeah.
Poland, Moldavia. So that's the only border. South, you have Crimea. Russians are coming in. You got Belarus. You got Russia. So you're surrounded by three sides. That's the only side where people are going. That's the only side supplies. This is the only place we can bring humanitarian aid to create a green corridor, they call it, for humanitarian aid.
Would they even allow that?
Well,
They try to shut that down.
supposedly they're heading that way.
I mean, he's breaking international law every day.
Every single day.
Yeah.
20
So why
times
wouldn't
a
he
day.
fucking blow that off too and try to
Sure. I mean, he's broken, and somebody is already mentioning an idea of trying him as a war criminal,
Yeah.
right?
They
And
say that every
how-
time there's a war though. I don't believe that though.
But how does he come back to this? How can we play out this scenario?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even
He
understand.
just
don't
takes
either.
it- I mean, we did it with Crimea essentially.
I
but
think
this is next level. But
This
it's-
is way next level.
I know, but
Crimea
I mean,
was peaceful.
Oh, I know.
I think he
essentially,
thought it
but
was going to be Crimea. You're right. He
that's-
thought he was going to
yeah.
walk into the Ukraine. They were going to surrender, and he was going to have a big
just
swath
kind of
land.
take
He
it and it'd be
figured
done.
They're
out-
fighting back.
He figured out how to navigate Crimea, but this is different.
Yeah.
How does he come back from this? Does he
don't know.
reemerge and go to the world, any world leader? Oh, I took over this country.
Mm-hmm.
Here's how it is. Welcome me. Or like, let's just put this all behind. How does this work?
Mm.
How does any of this work?
Biden has his State of the Union address tonight at 9:00.
It'd be interesting.
Is there anything? I don't know if you're even going to watch it, but is there anything you'd like to see someone like the former Vice President of the United States, Joe Biden, say to the country, to the world, that you would go, okay, there's someone putting their foot down. That sounds like a plan. Do you have any faith in his ability to do that, or is there anything you'd like to see him say?
I mean, I think what's needed right now, probably a tremendous amount of help, support, and aid for the people who are fighting there.
Yeah.
I don't think about it. I'm gonna just encourage everybody to think about this again. What he says tonight will be played on Russian televisions 26 times a day.
Yeah.
If he says anything remotely with humongous amount of aggression towards Russians, that will be played, amplified, and the whole Russia will be made to believe that we are coming to get them is in America over and over and over again.
So Americans have to know that, like the government, that are speechwriters, have to know that this is going to be propagandized throughout Russia. So if he were to make a statement and say, if you shoot one more school in Ukraine and we're bringing holy hell down on you, that would be spun out to look like they're the aggressors. But
Yes.
see, that's Putin's tactic. The hypocrisy is mind-blowing.
I mean,
mean,
I
that's-
don't
that's
know
exactly
what he's
what-
what's needed on the ground. I can tell you what's needed on the ground: weapons,
Yeah.
humanitarian.
Sounds like
aid,
Europe's given more weapons than we are.
drones.
Yeah.
Drones are needed.
I mean, do you
night
even think that
goggles
there's
are
enough
needed.
weapons, in all honesty, to defeat the Russian army? In all honesty, I mean, if you leave Ukraine on an island as it is,
Are
no
we
matter
just
how many
are we just
weapons,
talking about strictly weaponry?
well, essentially,
Yeah,
I mean,
100%. Subnuclear bombs that we Americans and Russians used before. The only two nations to ever use that.
Yeah.
We used them in Afghanistan. They used them in Syria.
You're
Aleppo.
talking about the vacuum?
I'm talking about the bomb that takes out 30,000 people.
The vacuum.
Yeah, subnuclear weapons.
yeah.
Yeah, that thing sounds.
It is terrifying. So
Terrifying.
does America or other countries, including Russia, have capabilities of massive casualties in few seconds? Absolutely.
Oh, of course they do. I'm just saying, does
talking
Ukraine,
about-
even if you just armed Ukraine, I mean, aside from that, I mean, you could give them nukes and let them just go ham. But do they have what? I mean, could they
like
even
you
defeat?
like you said earlier, if you get up some jets and start bombing, I mean, it's all
Yeah.
lined up there. There's
Yeah.
40 plus miles.
I can just picture like Nam, the
Air
napalm.
support's not enough.
I know, but
Just
like
do an
like
air-
napalm, like just where you just the
I
carpet
mean,
bombs.
that's
where
actually
you
a
just-
really great strategical, tactical thought. Like,
Yeah.
the only reason why I think it's not happening is they must not have the resources because you
Yeah.
know exactly where they are.
Exactly.
But it
They're
sounds like-
lined up.
So why can't somebody
But
else go
then-
fucking do it?
I
That's
think
the
Germany
problem.
is. I think Germany is sending a lot of missiles.
Well,
shit.
giving them to them.
But then
to the
again,
Ukraine.
like, let's come
but they
back.
can't step in. They can't step in.
They can't step in,
No,
number
not right
one.
now.
And then I just really want to, like, there is this part of me. Let's come back to the fact that in all of those cars and all of those places, they're sitting people.
yeah,
And how many people are going to die for this fucking lunatic.
Yeah, that's the part that boggles my
Can
mind.
we just figure out where his bunker is and just end it that way?
It sounds
think
like he
so.
sent his family away to some billion-dollar hideaway in the mountains.
I'm sure he
You
did.
can
Can
find
we?
it.
Can we find and create collateral damage in this person? Because it breaks my heart to think all of it is wrong.
So I
Yeah,
said to
does
him
this
the other
sound
night,
possible?
"Are we really going to stand by as a world
Yeah.
and watch this happen?"
Well, we're not standing by, right? We're creating situations where hopefully people from within rise up and they will overthrow him. Because that is the situation we're creating, okay? We're taking everything from the oligarchs, so we're hitting that, okay? We're taking away everything from them. SWIFT, getting money in, right? All of
Yeah.
those things are happening. We're kicking them out from every sports activity. They can't
Yeah,
play any
FIFA,
sports.
22 World Cup, they're
FIFA,
out.
we're taking away all the events from them. Even the Taekwondo Association took his black belt from him. That's gotta hurt.
Yeah.
I'm sure that
Oh
pissed
yeah,
him.
that's for
I
an
mean,
egomaniac.
for an
That's a kick in the
egomaniac,
balls.
they
Yeah,
took his black
absolutely.
belt.
Good for them.
And then we turned off Pornhub, and now
no.
there's a Ukrainian flag every time they try to go to Pornhub.
that's awesome.
I mean, we're going to all extremes here to make sure that people rise up. Now people's porn is gone.
Oh, that's going to bump people.
Ukrainian
I
flag.
hope people downloaded their porn.
brilliant.
It's going to be. You're hilarious. So I was reading today, and I don't know if this is true. Maybe you know some of the players involved that are making comments, because I understand some of them have sketchy past, but I don't know if that's propaganda or if that's real. So Vladimir Putin has hidden his family members in an underground city in Siberia. The luxury high-tech bunker is located in the Altai Mountains, was designed for protection in the event of nuclear war, said political scientist Valery Solovey. Mm-hmm. Do you know him?
I don't.
Former professor at Moscow State Institute of International Relations, attended by future top diplomats and spies. Solovey has previously alleged Putin suffers medical problems hidden from the Russian public and has now taken part in a bizarre secret shamanic rituals alongside his defense minister, Sergei Shoigu. Mm-hmm. Some in Moscow dismissed Solovey as a conspiracy theorist or hoaxer, but just last week he was interrogated for 7 hours by Russian authorities due to allegations he made about Putin's medical and mental condition on a Telegram site he operates. So that's what you're talking about, Telegram.
Telegram, yeah. So
Okay.
if you go to Telegram, you can be inside a lot of these channels that are reporting. I mean, does this sound like him? 100%. And the
Yeah.
rumors that he's been ill have been circulating for a really long time within really high circles. So I don't doubt it. The fact that he has something built in the Altai Mountains, I am certain he does, and it's luxurious.
$1 billion, they said.
$1
something
billion,
like that.
one of a kind. I'm sure that's where he's hiding all of his family.
It says, in fact, it's not a bunker, but a whole underground city equipped with the latest science and technology. I hope this means something to you that the president sends his family to this bunker. Solovey, who claims to have inside contacts at the Kremlin, is believed to be referring to a sprawling mountain dacha built by energy behemoth Gazprom around a decade ago in the Altai Republic, a region of Siberia bordering Mongolia, China, and Kazakhstan. Observers have noted multiple ventilation points in the grounds surrounding the mountain hideout and a high voltage line linked to an ultra modern 110 kilovolt substation enough to power a small city. During construction, vast German tunnel diggers were reported to have been on the site. So I don't know. I mean, it sounds like,
Sounds about right.
yeah.
Sounds about right.
Is it possible, and I know you can't answer this, I know, is it possible that he could be sick with cancer?
Yes.
And dying and go, if I'm going, I'm taking the rest of the world with me.
Yeah.
Possible.
is it possible that's
At
what we're
which
talking
point
about?
you gotta think like, so the rumors are circulating that he's had cancer, whatever other disease for a while. The rumors have circulated that he's become increasingly paranoid for a really long time.
Yeah, I've heard that.
His circle is very small. But the only people that still have access to him are these oligarchs. Okay? He's sitting at the table with them. There's like 10 of them. They are the richest, the most wealthiest. A lot of them are very educated and very smart. I just question, wouldn't they all look at this shit show and go, he's fucking insane.
Yeah.
He's about to take us down. We got to figure out how to stop this.
You'd
lunatic."
hope so.
Yeah.
That is honestly, in my mind, is my biggest hope. Because somebody who sees him in that condition has to realize, like, this shit show needs to end.
They couldn't possibly agree with it, could they? They have to see the big play and go, this can't work out.
Most of these people either live in the West, have been in the West, trying now to move their yachts to the Maldives. I don't know how do they sleep at night.
Yeah. Has Putin ever been here?
Where?
America, the West?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
I don't know why I'm curious.
Probably. Well, I mean, he served in Germany as KGB agent.
Yeah, that's true.
He's certainly been to the West. I'm sure he's been to the West.
I don't know what we do, man.
I don't know what we do either. I am just, honestly, I'm exhausted personally.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted from trying to save people. I'm exhausted from helping them get what they need. I'm exhausted from this
Are you-
insanity.
Are you posting a lot on Facebook about it?
Not a lot. I just haven't had time.
Yeah.
Also, I'm sort of debating because is somebody watching?
You're still on
Does
your
somebody
hack watch,
knows?
too.
I'm still in a hack watch, and then, I thought about it today. Do we want to give too much information because are people scouting what's really happening? So, I am posting in terms of I want to make my position on this very clear. I'm not gray on this. I'm not scared on this. I'm none of this on this. I was born in the Soviet Union. I have Russian blood in my veins, but this is the most fucked up thing I've ever seen in my whole entire life.
Wow.
I have never witnessed anything like this. And this is wrong. And I don't care what blood is in your veins.
Yeah.
You just have to get up and say, this is fucking wrong. I don't care who you are or where you come from. It's just, it is terrifying to watch the destruction of the innocent people that did nothing to any
Yeah.
of these other people.
Yeah, seeing the kids, it's not going to play well globally. Seeing the women fleeing, 500,000, I think.
Yeah, it was 660 already at the
Was it?
borders.
Hey, I was talking to one of my buddies today, Ed, and I said, hey, do you have any questions for Jenny? And he said, I got a lot of questions for Jenny. And he asked an interesting one, and it's off topic. But he said, what was Russia's role in defeating Germany in World War II? He says, I was taught in high school it was largely D-Day with us and Britain that changed the course of the war. It seems Russia had a much bigger role and sacrificed many lives, but were left out of the spoils. Is this a whole other hour conversation?
Probably.
Yeah.
Listen, when I got to America, and that's what I learned, you guys learn in your history books.
Yeah. But ignorance is bliss. I don't know what to say. I mean,
The war started in 1941. You guys came in 1944.
yeah.
We lost millions.
Yeah.
We're talking about 20, 30, 40, however many millions, because history has different numbers. Okay? The bodies were getting stuck in tanks like they are now.
Yeah.
We marched all the way to Berlin. We unequivocally won this war. And at the end of it all, people were sitting on the fence that showed up and they're like, oh, let us help you.
Yeah.
Americans were worse than China in that regard. Don't even get me started on how many companies were helping the Nazis.
Yeah.
Don't get me started
Oh,
on Henry
yeah.
Ford history or anything else that's out there.
Yeah. No, it's,
America's part was very small. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, I really want, it's nothing against America. And you guys, I'm a patriot of this country.
We all know
But
that.
you have to know your history. America showed up a little too late. So now the point is don't show up a little too late.
yeah.
Don't sit on the fence. Because now we have the internet. If we didn't have an internet right now,
Yeah.
fuck, nobody would show up,
Yeah.
right?
What about storming the beaches of Normandy?
Those were wonderful.
Yeah. So it's very rattling, and I know why Ed asked that question because I probably went we went to similar public schools and we're taught that propaganda. And if you don't know any different, you just grow up as
That's
a
what you
patriot
think.
thinking that. And when he asked that, he said, the deeper I've read as I get older and read more and more of this, it sounds like Russia had a way bigger role in taking on the Nazis in World War II.
Russia took down the Nazis
Yeah.
in World War II together with Ukrainians and Belarusians. That's why this is so sad.
Yeah.
Because every day we think about our grandparents that fought in that war, like
My grandpa.
hand to hand, Russians and Ukrainians stood up against the Nazis and they fought the Nazis together. If those people were alive now, and some of them are, and they're crying, because now Russia is attacking Ukraine.
Yeah.
And guess what? Now I'm a Russian Jewish person. My family was the part of the Holocaust. But this morning, me and a guy from Berlin are getting all the necessary supplies to take to Ukraine. And
Yeah.
this is the surreal reality of 2022.
Well, you're a hero.
Yeah.
You're a hero to all
Thank
of
you.
us. If there's anything we can do, Jenny,
I'm
just
not.
let me
The
know.
people who are there
No,
are
no, no,
heroes.
no, no, bullshit. It's easy. It's easy to tweet. It's easy to Facebook post. It's very hard to get involved on a personal level. I don't know what we can do. If there's anything we can promote, you're welcome here every day. If you want to come every day for the next month and sit on and do this and update people, the platform is yours. People love hearing from you. They love your perspective. I know I do. I respect it. I respect you. And I think it's great because so many of these discussions start in one place and then inevitably, and I'm guilty of it too, inevitably fall off the edge into right versus left politics. And you don't do that. You don't
It's not
do that.
about that right now.
irrelevant.
And that's what
I
I
know.
want to encourage all the listeners and all the people to understand. Right now, it's not about right or left. Right now, it's about human lives. And I hope that after this, maybe we could also find a way that people understand that. And we can finally all work together, no matter what side you're on. This is humanity, people. Like,
Yeah.
let's stop this division. How can we figure this out? What is important? At the end of the day, everybody just wants to be safe. They
Yeah.
want to be loved. They want to provide for the people that they love, and they don't want fucking bombs falling on them. They don't want to sleep in bomb shelters.
We often look at history too and think, at least I know I do, what kind of monsters lived while this genocide was going on in this part of the world? You know, clearly today we would never let that happen. A regime that just wanted to mow down another. We're looking at it right now. And you know, what are we going to do? Personally, I don't know. But what is the world going to do? I think is a question we need to answer. And I think America needs to look in the mirror too, because the atrocities that we're seeing Russia do right now are not. There's blood on our hands for a lot of that shit.
100%.
When you're talking about
100%.
Syria, when you're talking about Libya,
Yes.
and propaganda flows both ways. So-
100%. And a lot of times, the Russian people that I talk to throw it in my face. And I'm like, yes, and we were wrong too.
Yeah.
And I will say it all day long. Because, yes, we can also not do things like this.
Yeah.
Right? We're all human beings. Let's wake up the world. I'm looking forward to what they're going to address today, what they're going to say. I'm sitting on my edge. I didn't even know what's happening. I'm heads down, so I'm glad. I'm sure
State
I
of
would
the
have
Union,
cut
9
up to the
o'clock.
State of the Union, so I appreciate you guys. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you again. I love
no,
you
thank
guys.
you.
Thank you for giving me this platform and asking again thoughtful questions, being prepared, really, really understanding what this is.
I'm trying.
Thank
Troy's
you.
trying. You're the one that's making it make sense. For real. So why don't we leave it there? Is there anything else you want to say to people, Jen, that are listening? If there's anything more,
Anything you wanna promote
we'll
or
definitely
put
have
out?
you on again anyways.
Yeah,
So-
not at the moment. Again,
Okay.
I'm like super saving hands down right now. The only thing I would say, if you know somebody, if somebody reaches out and they need a resource, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. In the future, I'm sure we're gonna have an ask. There's a huge humanitarian crisis on our hands. There's gonna be a lot of refugees. That's the only thing I'm going to leave you with. You know, I don't want to ask for help prematurely because I don't even understand what that help is right now.
Right.
Well, that sounds very familiar. When I mentioned Glenn Beck earlier, when he was doing the humanitarian front aid to Afghanistan, there were so many days, and you could tell how frustrating it was that he couldn't say what was going on behind the scenes for fear of safety, for the lives that were in jeopardy. And he said, you know, one day I'll be able to tell you these stories, these individual stories that will blow your fucking foundation away. But right now, I just can't. I'm sorry. You're going to have to trust me. It sounds like a lot of what you're doing is protecting others.
Yeah,
Protecting-
it's just it's on the ground work. It's networks that have been set up, and it's just people helping people because
Yeah.
we're all people.
Jenny, thank you so much.
Thank you.
you.
Thank
Jenny
you, guys.
Fetter on Facebook, Feter. And we'll keep you up to date. Well, I can't wait to have you back in. I just adore you, and we'll do it soon. Hang in there.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you, everybody.